This is an activity to help explain the cascade of intervention. You may have seen this done with pictures of waterfalls, calling it the waterfall effect. I much prefer the domino effect, and you're going to understand why in just a minute. So this activity comes with a chart that helps you lay out your dominoes and gives you a potential domino effect. They're not all this way, but we do know that quite often interventions start with induction. So this domino says induction. Once we're being induced, we know that we need IV fluids. And monitoring is another thing that goes along with inductions, continuous monitoring. Now, because we are being monitored continuously, we have some limited mobility because we really only have from the monitors to the machine to be able to move around because there's a cord joining the two. And because we have limited mobility, that might make it difficult for us to manage the discomfort of labor, and which means we might want some pain meds. We're going to use epidural as an example here. If you get an epidural, then you really have no movement after that. We're really not allowed to move out of bed and to get up. Which means if we can't move around, then we're not able to help our body much with that labor process. If the body could have helped from a position change, that might be difficult to do, which means that we may end up with an assisted delivery. Assisted meaning we might have vacuums, forceps. You may even need a cesarean birth to kind of help bring that baby out into the world. So you think you're making a decision just to be induced. And what happens is as soon as we start that induction process, we can end up somewhere that we don't want to be. Now, the reason I like the domino effect is because we don't stop there. We don't just stop the conversation there so that people think, oh no, I am screwed. I'm being induced and I'm just going to end up somewhere that I don't want to be. No, we don't stop there. So in this scenario, let's say that we are going to be induced, which means that we're going to have IV fluids, and that means that we need to be monitored. If we give some more information to our students and help them think a few steps ahead, then they may decide, I need to be monitored, but I'm going to ask for the telemetry machine. Now, the telemetry machine is a battery-operated or wireless operated monitoring system, which means you don't have a cord connecting you from here to the machine, or it's a battery pack that you can carry around, which means we no longer have limited mobility. We can walk around the room, we can walk around the floor. A lot of these devices are also waterproof, which means we can still get in the tub and potentially labor in the tub. If we can take away this limited mobility, then hopefully we can deal better with our pain, and we're not going to need an epidural and potentially stop this cascade effect. So now that we're making the decision to be induced, because I've taken this domino out, the domino effect stops here instead of continuing on. I find this to be a very powerful visual about asking the right questions, getting the right information, finding alternatives to potentially prevent being somewhere that you don't want to be. This activity comes with 7 dominoes that already have words on them, as well as the template for positioning, for spacing in between them. Most of my paper activities that I mail out and that I create are laminated. This one is not laminated because I find that the lamination makes the dominoes slide too much and very unpredictable. And sometimes the entire cascade will go down even though we've taken out a domino, which could be a really valuable conversation as well, saying that labor sometimes takes those turns. But for the point of this activity, I prefer not to have it laminated. I hope you like that, and I hope it's great. It's a great reminder and visual for your students.